All right, you primitive screwheads, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Sergeant Moose here, back with another Evil Dead the Game video. Today is September 21st, guys. We got a hot fix that just dropped recently today, and for you non-tweeters or guys that don't do social media, things like that, that's why I'm here, because we're going to go over the patch here on stream. And first things first, after reading this patch, guys, I do want to say, if you are a demon main out there, man, you are rejoicing these past few weeks with the update earlier this month, and of course the patch today. Definitely heavily in the demons' favor. Of course, there were some fixes today that absolutely needed to be fixed, that we'll go over, that we've been dealing with, that's been plaguing the game a little bit for the past few months. Some big changes needed, however, some changes that are also going to be beneficial to the demon once again. So, with that said, guys, without further ado, let's jump into it. There's not a whole lot of patch notes, but some are significant. Alright, guys, first things first, we're going to start from the top down. Players no longer can duplicate Shemp's Cola and Amulets by simultaneously pressing use and drop all in inventory. That's right, guys. So, there was, with the recent update earlier this month, there was a patch that was supposedly going to fix that. Unfortunately, I guess it didn't. Players were still experiencing this across, all platforms in the game. So apparently, this is now fixed. We'll see how it holds up. Obviously, it's going to, take a little bit of testing, some time to see if it actually happens in game anymore. But you're supposedly not supposed to be able to drop Shemps and Amulets anymore. Next, players no longer can duplicate ammo if the first player clicks to collect ammo and the second player automatically collects ammo. I did hear about that vaguely. Really didn't know much about that, but apparently that was an issue, and now it is fixed. So no more ammo duplication, guys. Now here's probably the biggest kicker of the entire patch. For those of you who are David Main or David Allen mains, now, since the update, he has got massively nerfed. Apparently, it was a bug that allowed him to stack his Shemp's Cola whenever he drank his Shemp's Cola, also known as Soda Pop. It granted a 30% reduction to the team, and if you would just drink quite a few of those, it would stack on top of each other. So, for instance, if you drank 4 Shemp's Colas at once with David, it would grant your team a 120% damage decrease, which means that they are invincible for 30 seconds. However, it was not intended to be that way. It's only supposed to work once and not stack. So you'll still be able to drink 1 cola with David, get your 30% reduction for your team for 30 seconds, but you will no longer be able to stack. So there has been a few questions floating around as if that was intended or wasn't intended. Apparently it was not. So that instantly, in my opinion, brings David down a whole ton of pegs. Soda Pop can still be a significant use, especially during the objectives and the book phase, the Necronomicon phase. Still can be effective. However, with his ability, his active ability, which is absolutely horrendous, terrible, in my opinion, David is now the worst support in the game. That's my personal opinion. There is no longer any reason to use him over any of the other support classes, and I say that with complete confidence. So, RIP to David. Next on the list, players can no longer use sprint without any cost by starting to sprint simultaneously with reloading animation. Another one I did not know about. Apparently it's been reported. So no longer with reloading animation can you sprint simultaneously without using stamina. Next, we have demons can no longer constantly see the icon of the survivor after the resurrection of the survivor on the altar. So I'm assuming that this pertains almost specifically to Pablo, and I hope it does. We're going to test that out, but there was an issue with Pablo recently, guys, to where if you would die as Pablo or get downed, your camouflage would no longer work on the demon's map. He would be able to see Pablo's icon for the rest of the game, which was a bug, not supposed to happen. So I'm thinking this is pertaining to him. Hopefully it is. That's great. Definitely a win in Pablo's column there. Survivors can no longer get a speed boost by interrupting a fast melee attack by aiming. Okay, another one that I really wasn't too sure about, but apparently that's a good fix as well. Possessed pit deadites can no longer attack without interruption. That is actually a really good fix, because that was an issue that was plaguing the pit deadites for on the survivor side as well. So pit deadites no longer attack without interruption. Scotty's dodging now costs stamina. Now this was an exploit that a lot of players with Scotty were using, and admittedly, I would use it here and there myself when I play Scotty. I don't play him that often, but yes, this has been an issue with Scotty. It is fixed now, but it was actually pretty useful with him, so that's no longer in the game, and rightfully so. Players no longer experience disconnection from the match after using self-destruct during the head-throwing animation. So, Puppeteer Basics, ripping their head off, guys. Apparently, there were players disconnecting. I've never had that issue. Of course, when I play Puppeteer, I usually don't do the head rip too much, but apparently it was disconnecting some players. So, apparently that should be fixed as well, which is good. Title no longer crashes after collecting the second objective in solo mode. Okay. So for those of you solo mode players out there who do play solo mode, apparently that was an issue as well. I haven't played solo mode since the game came out, so really don't know about that. But good on you guys for if you play solo. Necronomicon is now showing damage numbers after being hit. That is absolutely amazing. That will be great for testing. Especially with big changes to the Necronomicon, the book phase for the demons and things like that. It'll be great for testing and to figure out how to get that thing broken even faster than it already is. Anyway, DLSS is now working. Great news. Don't know what that is, but that's awesome. And the last one on the patch notes is the sound of collecting objectives now plays if the player is far away. Now, this is pertaining to Demon as well, guys. This was actually an issue because in some instances, I've also encountered this many, many times, the sound of objectives when survivors would collect a map piece, things like that, would be kind of proximity based with the Demon. So if you were far away from that objective, whenever they got that objective, sometimes you would not hear it, and therefore you wouldn't even know that they collected, a map piece or things like that. So now apparently, no matter how far away you are from the survivors, from the objectives, you will get an indicator, a sound indicator that they have indeed collected the objectives. So with that said, guys, that is the complete patch notes. I'm also going to link it down in the description if you guys want to take a look for yourself. Some big changes, much needed changes. I'm very pleased with this patch because it covers a bunch of exploits and issues and bugs, that people were using to their advantage that weren't intended in the game. So great news on that part. I understand the David situation. That wasn't intended from the start, and if it wasn't intended, it should not be in the game. So with that said, no more stacks for David, no more invincibility with David, no running double support, just using David for, just the powering down Shemps to keep your team invincible. That is no longer an option, guys, so in my opinion, David is now meh at best as a support class. But just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think about that down below in the comments, please. But yeah, so that's the patch, guys. Glad to hear it. Great job by Saber, man. They jumped on it. A lot of core issues being fixed. With that said, guys, that's all we have for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. For all things Evil Dead, the game, please feel free to drop a like, subscribe to the channel for more content coming here in the future. My name's Sergeant Moose. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next video. Take care, ladies and gentlemen.